In this video, we're going to solve absolute value inequalities. It says find the solution to the following absolute value inequality. And they give us the absolute value of 2x plus 6 is less than 18. So this whole less than 18 part is telling us that we want to be a certain distance from 0. So we have absolute value of 2x plus 6 being less than 18 from 0. So let's look at what that would look like. If we draw a number line being less than 18 from 0, that would be like, if I mark 18 here, 0 here, and negative 18 here, less than 18 from 0 would mean that my solutions would need to be less than 18 here, but also greater than negative 18. Right? So this is the idea here when it says the absolute value of 2x plus 6 less than 18. I need numbers that are going to be give me numbers that are both positive and negative numbers that are less than 18 for this to be true. Like if 2x plus 6 were to equal negative 17, then I would take the negative 17 and take the absolute value of it, and I'd have 17 less than 18. That would work as well. So I'm looking for all the solutions between negative 18 and 18. Well, that helps me to write a compound inequality. So I'm going to write a compound inequality to solve. So when I do that, because it says less than 18, and I can see here that it needs to be greater than negative 18 and less than 18, I'm going to write this as negative 18 is less than 2x plus 6, which is less than 18. And then I'm going to solve this compound inequality by subtracting 6 on each side. So I get negative 24 less than 2x less than 12. Divide by 2 on each side. I get negative 12 is less than x, which is less than 6. So my solutions for this problem range from negative 12 to 6, so I can write that in interval notation with a parenthesis on each because neither one can be equal. We cannot use negative 12 or 6. Let's solve another one. This time you'll notice that the inequality sign is flipped. And actually I'm going to switch this because when I divide, I'm going to end up having to divide this by negative 4, and that's going to change the sign. So I'm going to switch this. I'm going to say that this sign is actually going to be the other way around to start. Okay, then I'm going to divide each side by negative 4 because I want to isolate the absolute value. When I do that, I end up with the absolute value of x plus 11 is, when I divide by negative, I flip the inequality sign, so greater than 3. Now, you'll notice that this sign was opposite of the other sign in the previous problem. So this is saying that the number that we get in here has to be more than 3 from 0. So if I draw that number line out here, I know that the absolute value of x plus 11 can either produce a 3 or a negative 3, right? If I have an equation, right, to satisfy the solution. So I'm going to mark 3 as being 3 from 0. And I'm also going to mark negative 3 as being 3 from 0. And it says we need to be greater than 3 from 0. So that would be a open dot pointed this way and open dot pointed this way. So I need to write a compound inequality that describes the situation. So let's do that, right? A compound inequality. Now this one's going to be different than the previous one because the previous one was like an and inequality because the arrows were pointed the opposite direction. This one's going to be an or. We're going to write x plus 11 has to be greater than 3, or x plus 11 has to be less than negative 3. And then we'll solve here, and we get x, if we subtract 11 from each side, has to be greater than negative 8, or subtract 11 on each side, x has to be less than negative 14. Now let's draw that on a number line real quick. So negative 14 is smaller than negative 8. So if I'm greater than negative 8, that'd be an open dot in this direction. If I am less than negative 14, that's an open dot this direction. So my smallest number, if I do interval notation, would be negative infinity. Right, infinity's out here. So negative infinity to negative 14. Use parentheses on each because it can't be equal to negative 14. And we're going to say union negative 8 to infinity. Parentheses on both. And that's how you solve absolute value inequalities.